everybody? What's up? I'm Michael.
Jonathan.
We are, of course, Pro JMR, and we're back for another episode of Our 3 Cents, the only movie review series on YouTube that you need to concern yourself with. Unless you like other people's stuff too, then by all means, go and support their channels.
Yeah.
But thank you for stopping by and supporting our channel. And what will we be reviewing today?
Well, we had originally planned to do a podcast tonight that we had to reschedule until tomorrow. And we were planning on talking about 80s cartoons. And since we had to reschedule and we were both already thinking about stuff from the 80s, I thought to myself, why not watch an 80s movie? So instead of doing that, we watched a movie that came out in 1993, but is actually a parody of all 80s action movies. And we are, of course, talking about Last Action Hero. I love this movie.
It's so incredibly cheesy that it is just...
Yeah.
Goes past the point where it's bad to where it goes back into where it's good, and then it gets bad again, and it goes into the rarely seen awesome of bad movies.
Yeah. It's just... It's a parody. It's a satire. It's a movie that makes fun of itself. And then the movie within a movie makes fun of itself. And it's a weird, tangled web that you fall down into.
It's kind of a weird Inception type thing.
It's fantastic, though.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie you don't have to try to make sense of.
No.
It's explosions and bullets and puns and one-liners and
Hard
awesomeness, heavy metal music, just... And you're just like, you just go along for the ride. Pretty much. So
you literally get to take the viewpoint of Danny, the 10-year-old kid who gets sucked into the movie, and you get sucked into it as well. Because now, while it doesn't get shown through his eyes, you get to see it from his perspective most of the time. Not like first-person shooter type, but more of kind of third person, if you compared it to a video game, maybe?
yeah, you get to see everything from his perspective, if not necessarily his actual viewpoint.
Not point of view.
Yeah.
A viewpoint.
Yeah. Just imagine watching all this unfold, actually getting sucked into your favorite action movie franchise and having to watch the events unfold and try to make sense of it all.
And actually being inside of said movie franchise.
Yeah.
And getting to help out and getting to be just an action hero that you always wanted to be, especially considering your real life probably sucks.
Yeah. I think that's always been one of the aspects of this movie that I've always loved so much is not the fact that he's just in a movie and he's in his favorite movie, but he's living, he gets sucked into that movie universe as well, including the rules of a movie universe. And that's a big part because he spends such a large chunk of this movie trying to convince Arnold Schwarzenegger that he's in a movie, and he's using movie rules to do that. And this was the first, I think this was probably one of the first movies that I ever really saw that introduced me to the idea of the rules of a movie. It's one of those things that watching a movie, you know that bad guys are going to lose, good guys are going to win most of the time, you know, things like that. But I mean, even so far as the scene where he tries to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to say a certain word, and he's like, you can't say that.
Because it's PG-13.
Because it's a PG-13 movie, and that just, you know, seeing that, especially younger, I mean, I was probably, you know, a teenager when I saw this, but still, it's like, oh yeah, like these are rules that are established for movies, and they're talking about them in a movie. It just...
And you're only allowed to say that one word one time in a PG-13 movie, and they say it later in the movie.
Yeah.
So,
like at the very end.
Yeah. I mean, that's the generalized rule.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Great stuff. Great cast. Great acting. It's not like they're making a bad movie and trying really hard to make it a good movie. It's a generally good movie because it's trying to be a bad movie.
Yeah. Because it's a movie that is... It's a movie within a movie, and that movie within a movie is a generic 80s style action movie. And honestly, I think it's some of Arnold Schwarzenegger's best work because he was basically just able to be every character that he had played up until this point. It's like take every single character you've ever played and roll it all into a ball and put on some cowboy boots.
Yep.
Because shit's about to get deep.
Snakeskin cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know that it's so 80s because I mean look at the production team, written by Shane Black, excuse me, produced by Steve Roth and John McTiernan. So you've got Lethal Weapon and Die Hard right there.
And directed by John McTiernan too. Yeah. I mean, Shane Black wrote most of the best action stuff from the 80s. I mean, he did The Last Boy Scout, he did Monster Squad, he did Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3. He directed. He did not direct 4. But, I mean, John McTiernan with Die Hard 1 and 2. Just, I mean, yeah, it's an odd mix of an 80s movie that is basically just made in the 90s, but made as a parody.
Yep.
And so many cameos.
So many cameos. Sharon Stone, Robert Patrick, and that was within the movie itself.
Yes.
Let's see who else was there that was not. Now he went back into real life. You got MC Hammer, Jean-Claude Van Damme, John Belushi,
James
Belushi, Maria Shriver, of course, but because she was playing Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I mean, she was playing herself as Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
of course. Danny DeVito does the voice of the animated cat.
Yeah. Damian Wayans. Or is that Keenan Ivory? Keenan Ivory Wayans and Chevy Chase.
Yeah. So they just went and got a lot of like big name people at the time and threw them in the movie, and it was great. MC Hammer stops Jack and says, "Hey, we on for Slater 5 soundtrack?" I was like, man, how different would that been?
Right. And of course the villain in this, I have such a hard time watching this movie. I've had such a hard time watching this movie over the past 4 years because Charles Dance plays the main villain in this. And I know him from Game of Thrones.
Yep. It's
weird to see him in this role, but he does such a great job. You know, he plays him. He plays such a very classical type villain. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the magic ability to bring any character in from a movie, and the first one that he wants to do and really wants to see is Dracula.
Yeah.
You know, I love it.
After, of course,
After Ripper.
After the Ripper, yeah.
Yeah. But he's like, bring in Dracula. He mentions Dracula. He mentions King Kong. Mentions Freddy Krueger.
You could tell that he was a fan of horror movies in his own world. When he wasn't being,
Yeah.
you know, a villain and a killer, he was watching horror movies.
Which cracks me up to think that this is a movie, this is a character from a movie within a movie that is a fan of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you think, would the movies that he knows from his world be the same movies that we have? Because in his world, Sylvester Stallone played the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
So what other kind of changes would there be? You know?
I don't know. So, and we forgot the most important cameo. Death himself.
Yes. Played by the great Ian McKellen. Pulled from The Seventh Seal.
Mm-hmm.
Which I remember the first time I watched this, I had already seen The Seventh Seal, and I'm like, oh my god, they're mentioning The Seventh Seal? Because I was, you know, a teenager, and I'm like, nobody knows about The Seventh Seal, because I was...
Weird.
I was a weird kid that thought that, you know, that was like a super obscure movie that nobody had ever seen when it, you know, actually isn't.
Yeah. Everybody knows Bergman.
Yeah.
So, but the soundtrack, oh my god, awesome.
Yeah.
Megadeth, AC/DC, Def Leppard, Anthrax, Cypress Hill. Who else am I missing?
Tesla.
And that's pretty much the main.
Yeah. Mozart.
Mozart, of course. Who John Practice killed.
Yeah.
But amazing soundtrack. And mini discs. Mention of mini discs.
Yeah, he uses the mini disc player in his car, which is odd.
In a portable one that's apparently hooked up, and with pre-recorded mini discs, which did not happen over here. So where did he get them from?
Maybe they only exist in the movie world.
Maybe in the movie world. So overall, if you want a fun time, with a good the definition of a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
This is it. If you were feeling a little nostalgic for 80s action in a 90s kind of way, watch this movie. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention real quick was the production value of it. Jack Slater 4, crisp, clean, excellent, looked very, very good, and it was a very good contrast from when they went into real life in New York, like the actual movie, or in like the first movie that we're actually watching. It's grainy and gritty and dark and dirty and just gross, but then whenever you go to LA for Jack Slater 4, it's crisp and clean, and it's a nice comparison and a statement about how the movies always seem to be better.
Yeah.
Cleaner and better and more exciting than real life, which is boring and dirty and sucks.
Now, I had an idea while I was watching this movie, and I just want to throw it out. And I know you're going to dismiss this at first, but let me finish. A remake of this movie, and let me finish, but a remake where the movie that he gets sucked into is a Deadpool movie. That is every wall imaginable just shattered. He would get sucked into a movie and be partners with a character who knows he is in a movie.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yep.
Can you imagine just Deadpool turning and be like, you know we're in a movie too? Like, yeah. Like, shh, don't tell anybody else. They don't understand.
That would be funny.
That would be hilarious. Anyway, yeah.
So, you have anything else to say?
I do not. Just,
I have one question to leave you with, and viewers, go ahead and answer in the comments. Let's have a conversation about this. If you had a magic ticket, what 80s movie would you want to be sucked into?
Ooh, 80s movie?
Well, because we're talking 80s. Or what movie would you want to be sucked into, period?
Gosh, I don't know. That'd be a hard one.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
So-
Willow.
So let's think about that.
Willow.
Willow?
Yeah. 80s Joanna Whaley.
I'd want to get sucked into Adventures in Babysitting.
80s Elizabeth Shue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You see where our priorities are.
Yep.
But yeah, if you've never seen this, check it out. Don't take it seriously.
Just have fun with it.
You're not going to enjoy it if you take it seriously. Remember,
Don't question things.
Remember, it's a parody.
It's watching.
Bye.
Blessed to be.